Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. Recently I stained my tiny house deck. I also sealed the tiny house deck, and I had some scrap wood lumber dropped off at the back of my house so that my friends and I can put up skirting. So finally my tiny house is going to get skirting, and that's what we're going to be doing today in this video. I do have helps. Hopefully we're going to get this done fast because I do have a guest staying for a long period of time at the end of November, and I want to make sure this gets done in time just in case there are cold drafts, because the tiny house does get cold in the winter. So that's why we're doing this. I'm going to go out there and show you the wood we're working with. We're going to be building a frame with 2x4s, putting plywood against it, and then putting a decorative facing on it. So I'll show you what we're working with, and we'll get started as soon as they get here. Okay, this is my tiny house, and this has not had skirting on it the entire time I've been here. So finally I'm going to be getting some skirting up. I do have some scrap lumber here. We're going to be using the plywood as the insulation, and then we'll be putting a facing on it. These right here will be used as the framing. There's plenty of them here, and we're going to be making a top and a bottom with some pieces in the middle, affixing that to it, the plywood. And then the facing will be like pallet board strips, cut to size all the way around. We are going to be covering up the wheel wells and possibly building a shelf, so that is also another project in the works, and we're going to get going soon. Underneath here is shorter. I also recently cut down all of the plants in the garden so that I can have access to all of this. I'm sure once the wall goes up, we'll be cutting a hole or whatever to go around that. This deck was also recently stained, like I said, and sealed. And we're going to continue over here. I'm not sure if we're going to be putting something along this area. We might just go across the foundation and do something different up here, but we will see how that works out. My friends arrived, and one of the first things we're going to be doing is taking the nails out of these boards so that we could use them against the tiny house for the skirting. We are using this garbage can as a table to cut these plywood. So this is the type of framing that they're going to be doing. Pretty much a top layer, a bottom layer, and then some scabs in between, connecting the plywood to that. We've got all of these pieces that are ready to go. They've got all of the nails out of them. These are all what's going to be affixed to the bottom to form a frame. Now eventually this little area right here is going to come out a little bit because the wheels come out a little bit, so I'm going to be making like a shelf along that wheel well. And the frame continues all the way around. So now we're going to be cutting these pieces of plywood to put against this wheel well, basically again to form a frame around it. Right, this is the end of day one. We've got some house wrap on the ground. We're going to be putting that up around on the plywood. This was our workstation. It did get a little muddy, and my friends are coming back tomorrow, but we did get a good layer of plywood around the whole thing. We do have a lot of scrap lumber left. The one thing that we don't have is another 3 pieces of plywood for the tires on the other side, so we're going to be doing that tomorrow. Back out here for another day, and this long piece of plywood is going to be put on this side, and we're actually going to cut that out because that pipe is in the way. This will stay there, but it's a pretty good piece for it to fit right there. Okay, this whole section right here is going to be done in a creative way. Watch it all come together. Okay, this back section is done. We've got it all closed in, notched out at the hurricane straps, and connected to the back. Actually, it's connected on this part right here. Cut out by the lights. And then we're gonna start on this side. Probably have to notch that out. And one thing I am concerned about is all the stuff that's under there, but we are going to put a door over here, so if I do need to get in here, I will have to crawl through this space just to work at these pipes over here. We are on the front of the house now, and we stubbed out a little section there for the pipes. About to start working on the wheel well. This is now attached to the back. Working on putting the plywood against the wheel well. Going to be covering all of this with wrap. It's looking pretty good. Okay, underneath here was built. The first side, then the second side is going to be built. Then we're going to put a door over here. Just a small access door so I can get under the whole thing. Okay, we are out here for our third day of this skirting, and I'm about to put this house wrap on. My friends left it. It was left over from a build, and there's plenty here to do around this whole tiny house. This part has already been done, so I'm just going to continue right here to wrap it all the way around. I believe this is 8-foot pieces, so I'm going to connect it to this one right here. Put it under. I'll probably have to put it behind that cinder block too. Let's do this. Alright, I think I did an okay job on this first half. I had to cut pieces around the hurricane straps. I'll probably end up taping those. Now remember, decorative wood pieces are going to be going vertically over this house wrap. Let's do this side. Got this next piece on. It's not perfect, but it's doable. And I ran into this spot right here. This spot couldn't be covered up, so I'm gonna go get some like foam to put in there, and then I'll continue putting the house wrap around it. I just don't want to leave entrances if I don't have to. Got this insulating foam. I'm going to be using it to fill in the cracks of the skirting, and then I'm going to continue putting the house wrap on. I don't think I did too bad. Just covered up that section of holes that was in there so that we could keep out as much air and wind and even animals and mice and anything that could crawl in those holes. So I'm going to let that dry before I put the house stuff on it. We have 3 sides done. The front, this side, this is the wheel well, this part right here. And then I wrapped it all the way around to here, and we still have this side to do. Now I do want to note that I am overlapping some of this house wrap and then sealing it with some duct tape, and then I also cut around the things that are sticking out and taped around those. We got another section done. All I need to do is this wheel well section, and the last of the house wrap is up. I did the rest of the wheel well, seamed it in 2 spots where I left off, covered the holes, more seams. I foamed up a bunch of areas. This area I'm gonna wait on, so when my friends get back I want to see what they want to do with this piece right here, because that is metal, so I can't staple that to there. So I want to see what they want to do with that. Same with that right there. So I think it looks pretty good. I have to do that seam over there, that one. We have got the entire skirting done, wheel well, all the way around, all cut up and notched out in specific places. We had 3 people working on this project. We formed an assembly line to knock it all out. 1 person with the saws, 1 runner in the middle, and then 1 person measuring and stapling up the nails into all of these. 2-inch nails were used. I am kind of concerned that the wheel well beneath this, there are tires beneath there, so I'm really hoping none of those were hit. Got everything notched out. I think it looks really good. And soon I'm going to stain this and seal it. That project was 4 days to put up that skirting. We got the frame around there, then we got the plywood up, then I got the house wrap up, and then we got the decorative pieces up. I had help with all of it except for the house wrap. The house wrap was left from another build from my friend, so thank goodness I got that. And now I have skirting around the tiny house. What this is going to do is help the tiny house stay warmer in the winter. It's going to keep most of the animals out of there. I'm sure there's ways that snakes or smaller animals such as mice can still get underneath. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. Eventually I'm gonna be adding a door in the back so that I can access those pipes I do have my pipes heat tape back there, and it's just way too small to crawl through that door, so I will be putting a door later on. And in the future, I'm going to be putting a wraparound deck around that whole tiny house. Half of it won't be a wraparound, but they'll be from the front going all the way around to the mid back of the tiny house. Then on the side of the tiny house, we'll get a catio for the cats, and that's in the future too. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button below and click the notifications bell so you can receive a notification each time I post a new video, which is every Sunday. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.
Bing bang!